Dikduk u'Masoret HaMikra. We're continuing with the special topics. The first one dealt with the Tehamim. This one deals with the Tenorot and the vowels. Particularly, we're going to focus on the difference between the Kamatz Gadol-Kamatz Kattan. How do you spot that? Because that's the most difficult one. The vowels are divided into two types, as it is in many languages. There are Tenorot Gedolot, they're major vowels and minor vowels, Tenorot Ketanot. The major vowels are the Kamatz Gadol, the Tzere, the Hirik Gadol, the Shuruk. And the minor vowels are the corresponding ones, Kamatz Kattan or Kamatz Hatuf. And then you have the Segol, which is the corresponding one for the Tzere. And then you have the Hirik Kattan without a Yod. And the Kubutz, the three dots instead of the Shuruk, the Vav with the dot in the side. The difference between Kamatz Gadol and Kamatz Kattan, pronunciation-wise, according to Sfaradim, it's pretty simple. The Kamatz Gadol is pronounced ah, a long ah, like that, and Kamatz Kattan is pronounced o, like a holam, because many of them do come from holam. Now, how does one recognize one or the other? And this is usually a big problem for those learning how to read and speak Hebrew in the beginning. Now, the Kamatz Gadol, the simple majority of Kamatzim, Kamatz Gadol. And the first thing to note is when you have a Kamatz and the next letter does not have, we're going to do it in the negative sense, does not have a dagesh in it, and there's no sheva, it's normally a Kamatz Gadol. For example, you take the words like Kadashim. And this, by the way, is a general rule. Kodesh Kadashim. It's a Kamatz, and there's no dagesh in the dalet afterwards, so it's not Kodashim, it's Kadashim. The word Behaneni, to test me, not Behoneni, where there's a Kamatz without a dagesh in the nun. I'm specifically taking these two because some people confuse them because of the fact that there's a dagesh, there's no dagesh when it's Behaneni. To test me, Kadashim, they tested me. Kadashim, Kodesh, Kadashim. Always, the Kamatz without a dagesh is pronounced Kadashim. Now, the second type is if you have and here's where we start running into some detail and some specific issues. Im nimtza, if you have a sheva after the Kamatz, then you can get confused if the Kamatz is going to be a Kamatz Gadol, Kamatz Kattan. Things are more subtle there. If you have a Kamatz with a Ma'arich or Meteg after the Kamatz, followed by a Sheva, then that's a Kamatz Gadol, and the Sheva is a Sheva Na. It's pronounced. It's not Sheva Na. For example, there is the word, and in fact it's in two forms, but Shamira Nafshi. You have a Kamatz under the Shin. You have a Ma'arich or a Meteg right after. Then you have a Sheva. It's pronounced Shamira Nafshi. It's Siman Avad. It's in the past tense. On the other hand, if you don't have a Meteg, it's pronounced Shomra Nafshi, and it's a Sivui. It's like a command. God, please, in other words, asking God, pleading with God in a strong sense, protect me. Now, the same thing. You have, for example, Venatenu. You have a Kamatz with a Ma'arich afterwards, a Meteg. The Sheva is a Sheva Na afterwards, and it's pronounced Venatenu. Same as Shamira. The Sheva is a Sheva Na. And then let me give you also Male'a Ha'aretz Kinyanecha. The Kamatz with the Ma'arich. You don't say Mol'a. You don't say Venotnu. You say Venatenu. Male'a. You have a Ma'arich after the Kamatz. The Sheva is a Sheva Na. It is pronounced. Here, let me give you one exception. Not an exception, but an unusual. There's a Kriyaktiv in Tehillim, Lamed, in the Perek 30 in Tehillim. It says, Meyaredi Bor is the Kri. There's a Kamatz under the Yod. There's a Ma'arich and a Sheva, and it's pronounced Meyaredi Bor. Now, there's a Ktiv, which is Meyor de Bor. So even though it's a Kamatz here, there's a Vav, or it's pronounced as if there's a Vav, Meyor de Bor, those who go down to the depths that way. Meyar de Bor, God protected me from falling down. But there, as it is, the kri is miyaridi bor. It's a kamatz followed by a makaf, by a ma'arich. So it's a kamatz gadol. The sheva is a sheva na, and it's pronounced miyaridi bor. Now, third case, and this is a little unusual difference between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim. There are words where you have a kamatz followed by a hataf kamatz. In other words, you have a kamatz and the sheva kamatz afterwards. Like, for example, the word mahorat. We pronounce it mahorat. In the Torah, for example, ya'omad hai, vayikra tet zayin, pasuk vav, and vayikra kaf gimel tet vav, mi mahorat, and ya'omad hai. The kamatz before the hataf kamatz, according to Sfaradim, is a kamatz gadol. The Ashkenazim read it as a kamatz katan. They read yo'omad, mohorat, and in fact you'll hear it in Hebrew today, the modern Hebrew, based on the way Ashkenazim pronounce it. But that's not the way the Sfaradim pronounce it. We pronounce it mahorat, ya'omad hai. And please try to remember that. Now, kamatz katan. Here's the real question of how do you spot kamatz katan. When you have a dagesh, I mentioned this before, when you have a dagesh in the letter after the kamatz, without a ma'arich, without a metek, and then the kamatz becomes a kamatz katan. So, for example, the word honeni, not behaneni with a ma'arich, honeni without a ma'arich, and a dagesh, the kamatz it's not followed by a metek, and there's a dagesh in the nun. It's pronounced honeni. In fact, the dagesh, we'll discuss it later on in several sections later on. The dagesh comes because there's a missing letter. But honeni, instead of honaneni, there is a nun which is missing, but it's pronounced as a kamatz katan. Second case, if you have a sheva in the next letter, before we said shamira nafshi, but I also said there's shomra nafshi. So if you have a kamatz without a metek and you have a sheva afterwards, it's automatically sheva katan. Kamatz katan. So the word is pronounced chochma, shomra, beshoch bechav kumecha. All of them have a kamatz, a sheva afterwards. There's no metek or ma'arich after the kamatz. The sheva is a sheva nah. You don't hear it. Chochma, you hear the chaf, you don't hear the sheva. Shomra, you hear the mem, you don't hear the sheva. Beshoch becha, you hear the chaf, but you don't hear the sheva. And all of those have a sheva, a kamatz katan, a kamatz hatuf. The third case is the opposite of kodesh kadashim. When you have kodesh hakodashim, so you have a hataf kamatz under the kof, and then followed by a dalid, which has the kamatz. The hataf padach is pronounced like an o. So we say kodesh hakodashim. It's the general rule, by the way. Kodesh kadashim. When you put a hey idiyah, so it's kadashim with a kamatz gadol. You put a hey idiyah before that, it's pronounced according to Sfaradim, kodesh hakodashim, hataf kamatz be under the kof, so it becomes kodesh hakodashim. Now here is one of the trickier ones. If you have a kamatz followed by a makaf, a hyphen afterwards, and there's no ta'am under the letter which has the kamatz. The classic word is kol. Kol has a kamatz. Sometimes you find kol with a holam, and this one comes from a holam. You have a kamatz under the kaf, you have a makaf or a hyphen afterwards. There is no ta'am with that word, so it's a hyphenated word. So it's pronounced kol. The kamatz is automatically kamatz katan. So let's remember again. A kamatz with a makaf, with a hyphen afterwards, with no ta'am under it, it's automatically a kamatz katan. Then we also have, in Tehillim, ugdol hasid. You have a kamatz under the dalid. There's a hyphen after the word ugdol. It's connected to the next word, and there's no ta'am under the word ugdol, under the dalid there, so it's pronounced like a kamatz katan. Then when we're in the tefillah, ya'amos lanu, you have it comes from obviously pasuk in Tanakh, kamatz with a hyphen afterwards. The kamatz under the mem is ya'amos lanu. It's pronounced like a kamatz katan. So you have kol, Ya'amos lanu ugdol hasid. Now we have exceptions. There are exceptions, 2 exceptions in the whole, for the word kol particularly, in the whole Tanakh that are pronounced kal. One is a very famous one, kal asmotai tomana, in Tehillim lamed he, pasuk yod. There you have the kamatz under the kaf, you have a ma'arich, you have a ta'am there, and there's no hyphen. So therefore it is pronounced like a kamatz gadol. Kal atzmotai tomana. There's another one in Mishlei Yutet Zayin. The only 2, Min Hatshai brings down the only 2 exceptions where you have a ta'am with the under the letter that has the kamatz, and there's one in Mishlei Kal ahere rash seneuhu. So the word kal there has no makaf, has no hyphen. There's a ta'am under the kaf along with the kamatz, and these are pronounced as a kamatz gadol. Only 2 in the whole Tanakh. Now, one other case, which a lot of people make a mistake on. When you have verbs which come from a binyan, a gizra, a group of verbs that have a vav in the middle. So in other words, they're called gizrat nahe ayin vav, where the vav once in a while is not there. You don't see it. So bisman avar, you have the words, for example, vayakom, vayashov, vayarotz. The shoresh of those words are kum, shuv, roots. So the shoresh comes from what's called the gizra nahe ayin vav. The ayin apoal, the second letter in the poal is a vav, but then oftentimes that vav is dropped, and you have therefore the word vayakom, vayashov, vayarotz you find in the Torah. Vayarotz in Bereshit Yud pasuk bet. Vayashov Shemot Yudalet Kafsayin, Vayakom. All of those come from verbs which have the shoresh of a vav in the middle of the 3 letters. That's why it's called Nahe Ayin Vav, Ayin HaPo'al. The word Po'al, Pe, Ayin, Lamed, Ayin HaPo'al is a vav, and when it's not there, you have the kamatz becoming a kamatz katan. Now, there's no makaf necessarily dictated after those words. You can have a tam there too. Vayakom, vayashov, vayarotz, vayashov hayam le'etano, vayarotz avraham likratam. They come from those verbs, and therefore they're pronounced as a kamatz katan. So again, we'll summarize. All those who come from the shoresh, which have the vav in the middle, kum, shuv, roots like that, the kamatz under those verbs, when they're conjugated in the past tense, vayakom, vayashov, it's a kamatz katan. The kamatz under the letter with a hyphen, like the word kol, is the kamatz katan. And then you have the hataf kamatz, for example, like kodesh hakodashim, hataf kamatz is pronounced like an o. It's a kamatz katan. And when you have a dagesh after the kamatz in the next letter, honeni, it is a kamatz. The kamatz is a kamatz katan. And the other case is when you have a kamatz followed by sheva without any ma'arich, no meteg, shomra, chochma, and also, for example, beshoch bechav kumecha. All of those are kamatz katan.